So as you guys know, the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be coming out in Q1 of next year. Well, at least that's what the rumors are saying right now of the time that we're going to be getting the next Nintendo console. And I wanted to make this video just talking about like the games that I personally want to see on the console, like games that I want to see personally that I would get the console for if I ever saw any of these games announced. I mean, regardless, I was going to end up getting the console anyway, but if these games were actually on the next Nintendo console, I would actually be a very happy camper and hopefully not have Jason Voorhees come after my ass. You know, I'm not that kind of camper, but I would just be very happy to see these games on here because these are probably franchises that I've been dying to see on a Nintendo console for quite some time. So starting off, and I just want to get this out of the way first because a lot of you guys are probably expecting me to say this anyway, I want to see a new Kid Icarus game because the last Kid Icarus game that we got was back in 2012, and that was Kid Icarus Uprising. So ever since then, we haven't really gotten any other Kid Icarus game, and it could be for various amount of reasons. It could just be, okay, we're trying to capitalize on the popularity that Smash Bros gave Kid Icarus, which makes sense. That's why they made a game for it. Or it could just be one of those things where Nintendo doesn't see much in the franchise, where they really want to take some time and actually put out another game for it. But it's been over 12 years since we've had a Kid Icarus game. So if Nintendo really wanted to, if they wanted to port over Kid Icarus Uprising and do a reimagining with it, I mean, I would accept that. But it would be pretty cool overall if we got a new Kid Icarus game, because I would be pretty happy to see Kid Icarus in a new light with the Switch 2, especially with the rumored specs that this console is said to have. I would definitely expect to have a very enjoyable experience playing this game if it were ever a thing. And the next thing I want to see, which is kind of obvious that we're going to get on here anyway, because it's been rumored and a lot of people know about it, and it's more than likely going to be one of the games that's going to be on the Nintendo console as soon as the game launches. The game that I'm referring to is like this rumored open Mario World game that we've known for quite some time now. And I can honestly see this, as I said, being one of the launch titles for the Nintendo Switch 2. And I feel like it would be cool, like I said, to showcase exactly like how strong the Switch 2 is, because like I went over in a past video talking about the specs of the Switch 2, it's said to be a pretty strong console. Like, it's not as strong as like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or a gaming PC, but it's at the level where it could play some pretty good games. So a lot of the games that you normally wouldn't expect on a Nintendo Switch, it would probably be able to run a lot better on a Switch 2. So I would love for there to be like a Super Mario 3D open world game, because it's been quite some time since we've had a 3D Mario game. I mean, the last 3D Mario game that we had was back in 2017 when the Switch launched, like around that time. So it's been quite a while since we've had a Mario game. So why not wait until launch time to launch that new 3D rumored open world Mario game? I think it would be pretty cool, because we know that Nintendo has done that with Zelda before. So it was only a matter of time before they decided to take that direction with Mario. And I think it would be pretty cool, because whenever you have a new Mario game overall, they always like testing the limits with the console, and they always like adding these new gimmicks to these Mario games. So I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if this Mario game is used, as I mentioned before, to showcase exactly how strong this console is. And I would absolutely love to play this 3D open Mario World game if I had my Switch on the dock and I was just sitting on my bed playing the game and just exploring the world and just looking at how beautiful the environment is. I would absolutely love to see something like this, because I'm a big fan of Mario and I've been dying to see another 3D Mario game. So this would be a very nice addition to have on the Switch 2 console. And then the next thing I'm going to bring up, and this is just wishful thinking, this is something that I would love to see, but at the same time, I'm not very confident in. I would probably have to say F-Zero. And I know F-Zero, it's kind of a meme of like wanting a F-Zero game on a Nintendo console at this point, but I think it would be pretty cool, because one of the things I've been very vocal about, and I'll make a future video talking more in depth with that in the future, so I'm not going to share all my thoughts in this one video, but I will say this: I have been very vocal on Nintendo trying to utilizing their other IPs under their belt, because Nintendo has a lot of IPs under their belt that they haven't used for quite some time. And I feel like a series like F-Zero, besides having Captain Falcon, it's in every single Smash Bros. Game all the time to just keep him relevant, I feel like it'd be cool, even if it's not like this big crazy game of F-Zero. I feel like it'd be cool if you wanted to make like a port of an old F-Zero game, but add some new things in there, maybe switch it up, have it be like some sort of reimagining or whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point anybody would take anything, but I think it would be pretty cool to have some other racing game besides like a Mario Kart, which Mario Kart's awesome. I love Mario Kart, but it would be pretty cool to have like another F-Zero game to see exactly like how far we've come from the last F-Zero game, which I believe was a game on the GameCube. So it's been quite some time since we've seen something like that. And the next thing that I want to see on the Nintendo console, which I already know it's going to happen in 2026, and I made a video talking about it already, but I want to share my thoughts on it in this video, and that is the Gen 10 Pokemon game, or just a Pokemon game overall, which we obviously know Pokemon games are going to be coming to this console, so that's a no-brainer there. But just adding more thoughts onto like exactly why I want a lot of good Pokemon games on here is you could actually have like the way that they're building these Pokemon games now look a lot better, because I don't know if you guys recall around the time when Pokemon Scarlet and Violet released, a lot of people didn't really like how that game looked at first because it was very laggy and buggy, and a lot of people had trouble playing the game because it was just so slow. And I feel like with a new Switch console, you would be able to showcase better graphics, better performance. With the new Pokemon games coming out, that the game would actually play a lot better, and a lot of people would actually be pretty pumped where they could run around at a steady rate and they can actually explore the world with no lag, or where they're not like stuck at like in the middle of the map, or they're like floating at the bottom of the map. Like you guys probably saw a lot of videos like that online on YouTube of people sharing various clips of them getting stuck in different parts of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because the game was so buggy. So I would definitely love to see like a good Pokemon game on the Switch 2, and using the Switch 2's power to its full power so we can get a great Pokemon game. And I would definitely expect him to go all out with that, especially with Gen 10 of Pokemon, which is rumored currently to have a new game come out with that region in 2026. I mean, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary. I think it's pretty likely, or more than likely, going to be getting a Gen 10 Pokemon game around this time. But yeah, some good Pokemon games would be very fun. No brainer, we're going to get that anyway, but I just wanted to include that in here as well. Another thing to include in here is Metroid Prime 4. And that game honestly has been talked about ever since the early years of the Switch. We don't really know the current status of like, okay, when they're going to release this game. We know that they had to restart development on Metroid Prime 4, but we still don't know exactly when this game is coming out. It could very well be announced next month, or I should say this month, because we are in June now. It could very well be announced in that month, in that upcoming Nintendo Direct, where maybe they want to showcase like one last big game on the Switch before they move on to the Switch 2. But at the same time, I'm not sure if I would personally want that. I mean, could they do it? Sure. Would it sell? Sure, especially around the holiday season when you want to buy like a Switch game to play around like, you know, Christmas time and all that. But I just feel like at this point, if we've been waiting so long, you might as well just have it as like one of those launch titles for the Switch 2 when it eventually gets revealed and you show off a couple of games, because I feel like around that time you could use that to like showcase like, okay, this is where the game is now, and you could just show like how beautiful the game looks and how it runs and everything. So I would personally save it for that console, because I happen to be a really big fan of Metroid. I love Metroid. I'm happy recently that it's getting a lot more love and it's getting a lot more games. So I'm happy that Nintendo is paying attention to that series, because that series is really fun. But I would personally wait until the Switch 2, but we could very well get that announced for this current console, Nintendo. But I would personally save it for Switch 2, because I just feel like, okay, since the next console's coming out next year, you could very well just use that as like one of the many launch titles, just like the 3D Mario game that I was talking about earlier. That could be one of the games that you choose to play when it comes to the early stages of the console's life. I personally wouldn't mind having a NintenDogs game, because I absolutely loved that game. on the Nintendo DS. So if they wanted to have another NintenDogs game on the Switch too, I'd be up for it. I honestly wouldn't mind anything like that at all. Also, when it comes to third-party titles, like a lot of those games that were ported over to the Nintendo Switch would probably be able to run a lot better. Like they're probably going to have Call of Duty games run on here. Xbox is probably going to have some of their games that they already have on PlayStation coming over to Nintendo as well, and they'll probably be able to run those games on the Switch 2, considering that the Switch 2 is going to be more powerful than the original Nintendo Switch, especially if you play the games in like dock mode, which more than likely that's how I'm going to play it. That's how I've tended to play my Switch console anyway. I've always played it on the console. I don't really bring it with me unless I have a reason to. Like there's just a lot of games that you can really sit down and talk about, like even besides the ones that I mentioned in this video. So I'm really hoping and praying that they have a solid lineup when it comes to the early stages of the Nintendo Switch, because I'm looking forward to seeing how this console sells and what games I can look forward to put money towards when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. Because whenever that does get announced and it's up for pre-order, I will pre-order it, because I don't want this to be a situation where it's out of stock and I'm gonna have to get the console at a later date. So I'm gonna make sure that I pre-order that bad boy right away, and I'm gonna make sure to get some good games along with it as well. So like, other than like what I'm talked about in this video, what are your guys' thoughts on like games that you personally want to see on the Nintendo Switch 2? Like, what is the must-have games that you guys have in mind that would really push you to buy a Nintendo Switch 2? Be sure to let me know all your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video and you like what I had to say today, be sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And also, if you guys want to check out my social media, be sure to check out my Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. It is all located in the description below. Be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I upload a new video. Other than that, I hope all you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's a daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.